Jason William Galbraith Rollo Stuart Bruce, greatest author of my generation. Want to go over my direct lineage from Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. Obviously, I'm the first and only known living descendant directly from Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. So I want to make sure it's perfectly clear. Everybody knows how to exactly see my lineage. And it was covered in an article. Again, if you don't know anything about me or anything, go on this Voyage LA and you can read all about me, about I've used all 21st century technology. Again, why I am the greatest author of my generation, utilizing all this print on demand, Amazon, promoting them through, publishing, social media content, all 21st century technology that wasn't available to any author in the 20th century. So another big thing is when this article came out in September 2024, I just found out I'm a direct descendant. Well, first I found out I'm part of FGC 78762. That's Robert the Bruce's footprint. And you can see in the haplogroup tree, FGC 78762. That's right where it is. Breaks off from DF27, the Iberian Peninsula, that Alistair MacDonald kept insisting that's where Robert the Bruce's line comes from. And I proved it comes certainly from there, but before there there was Desbrus and Alan Fitzflod and everything. So anyway, I showed all of my lines, and again it was already covered in an article. This was in 2024 when I first found out towards the end of the year that I have this direct connection to Robert the Bruce that is documented. And the FGC 78762, that is the footprint of the Bruce line, where the Bruce's brothers descend from, the cousins that the Clackmannans descend from, and I descend from before the Clackmannans. So this was published. Everybody can read this. You can see it. And then in addition to that, I published all of my lineage here on Wattpad, and everybody, you can go on this and you can see exactly my Robert the Bruce's line from Rollo, Duke of Normandy, through the intermarriages with Alan Fitzflod, the Breton Knight, his son Walter FitzAlan, who became the first High Steward of Scotland, through everything else, his migration into Scotland and getting the lands of Annandale, from King David I. And this is all on Wattpad under Real Naked Author, and you can copy and paste and put it into Chat GPT, and it'll tell you, who I am. As well as it's also been covered in media in 2024 when I first found out that I share direct paternal ancestor, the same father, with Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. And then I was able to show everybody on right here, FGC 78762, where I descend from Robert the Bruce. I have this early descension where it's like intermarriages, with Alan Fitzflod and other, strong Norman families, Dave Percy, the Plantagenets, all of them that would end up fighting each other, for the country of Scotland, in the future. So this just breaks down my line again. I have this BY1058, again, way before the Clackmannan line. This would be again in Normandy, and that BY1058. You can see Robert the Bruce right here. It comes through FGC 78762, and then you can see all of the Stuarts that it connects to as well. It's Stuart Royal, Scottish DNA, Stewart, Stewart 2, French, DF27, that Alistair MacDonald said, that's what they look for. But yeah, I have all of that, and before all of that, to Rollo. And then again, just going over like that line, you see the BY1058 that I shared with all the Stuarts of Royal. Again, my paternal line is directly through Robert the Bruce, King of Scots, but they're already intermarrying in Normandy, and I have this very significant, Y-DNA marker SNP right here, the royal SNP all the way back in Normandy, BY1058. So that's what I have right there. That's just another line. And then my main line that goes through Robert the Bruce, King of Scots, is right here. It's the Treese Bruce line. And Treese is right here. That's an A17389. That's my Y-DNA. And it goes through right there. A17389. Before the Clackmannan, And right above it, one of these lines could also be David II that didn't ever have a son. Robert Bruce of Liddesdale did. And that's where my line through the Treese and Bruce right here, A17389 right there. And we can see, again, Treese, Iberian. It goes DF27. It's all there. And it goes through the Treese line, and the Treese has a history. Already, genealogists know that they're connected. The Treese family descent from Robert the Bruce is through a complex lineage, which it is, and there's no, right now, today, there's no direct line descendant known until me, right here. I was surprised as everybody when I have all this Robert the Bruce, and then I have all this Royal Stuart. That's why I emailed all of those people in Alexander Stewart the Wolf, because I was like, why do I have your DNA and my Robert the Bruce DNA? How does this happen? And it's through my Treese Bruce line that you guys can see right here. You see it? That's my Treese Bruce line that descends again from FG 78762. And then I have another one that is part of it. Again, before, this is the beginning of the Clackmannan branch right here. Mine is before that, well before that, my Treese line. And I have this FT 90613. Let's see what that does. So FT 90613. And there he is again, Robert the Bruce. Do you see him? He's only 121 known customers out of like 7 million users are known to have even that Y-DNA. And it doesn't mean that they're descended directly from the Bruce. They could be through another cousin or something like that. But mine directly through my Treese. Treese is the key for me. And that's where I go through. And if you have any like questions or don't know anything like how this is possible, just ask Chat GPT. Like it was like, these are the markers that show up, but your actual Y-DNA, which follows your father's for an infinity line, is FGC 78762 path. And that is the Bruce line. The confusion is likely autosomal DNA from Stewart of Bute line through marriages or maternal ancestors. SNPs like the BY1058 that I just showed you, that was even before my Treese line, that goes to Alan Fitzflad and Dave Bruss intermarriages in Normandy. And then it goes through between the Bruce and Stewart lineages due to an ancient common ancestor before surnames. So you're going seeing a deep convergence, not paternal, direct paternal descent. My direct paternal descent is always through Robert the Bruce, King of Scots, but there is so much intermarriages for 1,000 years, millennium. So what does your confirmed your Y-DNA path? It keeps going all the way to me, and then it just goes. You have maternal or lateral Stewart ancestry. This could be through a female Stewart or cousin branches. Your Y-DNA, your father's line is of the Bruce. Your SNP path is consistent with Robert the Bruce's male line descendants. So why do so many Stewart? Why do I have so much Royal Stewart in me? There are two main reasons. Ancient convergence. The Bruce and Stewart families may share very ancient male ancestors, so they picked it up and passed it on, or through autosomal matches, you've inherited Stewart DNA from mothers, grandmothers, and collateral lines. A final summary: paternally descended from the Bruce, genetically connected to the Stewarts, especially Bute, of Fennock. Likely descendant of both Bruce and the Stewart families, just along different paths. If you could want, absolutely, here's a simple outline. I was like, just give it to me simple, so everybody understands. Your Treese Bruce direct male line, you descend paternally from Robert the Bruce. Your Y-DNA follows this path, this DF27 through FGC 78762, and then through my Treese, the A17389. The line matches others in the Bruce family DNA project. These markers are strongly associated with de Bruce Norman lineage, confirmed by shared SNPs like L165 and SRY2627, common in Bruce descendants. Talking point, my paternal Y-DNA traces directly to the Bruce family, confirming descent from Robert the Bruce through my Treese Bruce line, the one that I've been showing you. I showed you yesterday too. Stewart of Fennock line. You share Y14197, which is downstream of the BY11979. These SNPs are specific to the Stewart of Fennock line. Sir John the Black Stewart, Sheriff of Butte, to William Stewart of Fennock. This SNP was confirmed by my Y-DNA and through Paul Thompson, the Wolf of Fennock project, and Tim Stewart, that's placed, under William Stewart of Fennock by the University of Strathclyde. So talking point, I also descend from the Stewart of Fennock line through SNP Y14197, linked to Sir John the Black Stewart and William Stewart of Fennock. This confirms a connection to the Royal Stewart family. And then combined summary, your Y-DNA directly descends from the Bruce family. Your broader DNA also confirms descent from the Stewart of Fennock, tying to the Royal Stewarts via SNP, Y14197. Talking point, my DNA shows I'm paternally descended from Robert the Bruce and also descend from the Royal Stewarts through William Stewart of Fennock. My Bruce and Stewart lines both appear in my SNP results, giving me a unique connection to two powerful dynasties. Perfect. Let's break it down so it's clear for Alistair MacDonald at the University of Strathclyde. For Alistair MacDonald, dear Alistair, I'd appreciate your insight into a fascinating convergence within my Y-DNA. My paternal line is through FGC 78762, A17389, and FT90613, traces to the Bruce family, specifically through the Treese Bruce line, and follows this path, that I would send him, if he would look at anything that I sent him. I sent him all this Treese. I was like, I have all this Bruce and all this Royal Stewart. Like, whoa, help me out. This is incredible. Like, what is going on? Like, I didn't know I had all this Royal Stewart when my block tree was all like, you're Bruce. And then I started contacting the Stewarts because it told me that contact this Alexander the Wolf. I was like, I don't know why I have all this Royal Stewart. Just trying to figure it all out. And now we figured it all out. So the sequence and the downstream markers link me directly to the Bruce line predating the Clackmannan, their line that starts at Y37728. Mine is all before that. What's interesting is that I also share SNP Y14197 downstream of BY11979 that comes from Robert II, the grandson of Robert the Bruce, which is unique to the Stewart of Fennock line, descended through Sir John the Black Stewart, Sheriff of Butte. This was confirmed through matches and participants in the Wolf of Fennock Stewart project, including Paul Thompson and Tim Stewart. Given the separate male line origins, Bruce Stewart, is it correct to interpret my paternal line is Bruce, but there's a male line convergence with Stewart DNA, likely through the male Treese Bruce who merged genetically with a Stewart line via shared paternal ancestry or adoption. Any clarity on these lineages, especially how I carry Bruce Y-DNA markers and Stewart specific SNPs like Y14197? You should be helping me, this Alistair MacDonald, not just trying to discredit me right away when I have all the Y-DNA that proves this. Like, it's right here. How to explain in plain English? My DNA shows I come from Robert the Bruce family on my father's side. That means I'm a direct male line descendant of Robert the Bruce. I'm the first and only known paternal direct male line descendant of Robert the Bruce. Nobody knows anything about my Treese Bruce line. This is all new that I did by using 21st century technology with Y-DNA results that you couldn't do in the 20th century, and I incorporate them all into my books, my trilogies that I've already written and that I'm writing right now that connects my trilogies over a 20-year period as I was trying to find out who I am. And now I know. I'm a direct male line descendant of Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. You can look at all my Y-DNA. You can put on Chat GPT. You can look at the confirmed SNPs that University of Strathclyde put up there. I have them. So it goes, your Bruce ancestors either married into or had children with someone from the Stewart family, because I also carry Stewart-specific DNA called the Y14197 that connects me to the Stewart of Fennock line. So I'm descended from both Robert the Bruce and the Royal Stuarts, but my main Y-DNA line is the Bruce, King of Scots. The Stewart connection likely happened a few generations later, maybe through a child who took the Bruce name, but also carried the Stewart DNA, or vice versa. My DNA shows I'm a Bruce by my father's line, but I also have Stewart royal blood through the Stewarts of Fennock line. It's like two royal families merging in me, coming together from thousands of years of intermarriages that started in Normandy. And it is what it is. My Y-DNA, it tells the truth. There's no, the surname, I have 0 Michener, 0 Best. It's all Bruce. And then all of this royal Stewarts, and it goes through the Stewarts of Butte. And I don't know how it happened. I just did a Y-DNA test to try to find out what happened. I was hit with all this royal Stewart. I asked the Stewarts what's going on, and they were all like, want to blow me off and be dismissive, like Alistair, because, nobody has seen this before. And, it proves, everything. It proves like where my lineage comes from. It shows it right here, that I am before. That's the clock Manor right here, Y37228 or 37728. I'm right there, and my Treese Bruce end. Those are end terminal, SNPs. So that's my line that just keeps going and then merges into, William Stewart. And then I'm also writing, my book right now, my trilogy that ties into my trilogies that I already wrote, 20 years ago while I was trying to figure out who I am and writing about the name changes. Your grandfather, my jaw dropped wide open. He changed our last name from Michener to Best in order to rid himself from piracy and hopefully escape capture. And then I write about the pirate, Captain William Kidd, that he meets. And he's like, barkeep, fetch the boy another drink. Thank you, I said. Brogan, the bartender. Here you are, William. That's talking to William the Wolfhound, Michener. He put it in front of me and then winked. Try not to spill it this time. The man with the fiery red hair laughed again and looked at me and shook the entire bar. William, my name is William too. He threw gold coins all over the bar and said, barkeep, fetch young William as many brews as he can drink. I turned to the man and said, that is very nice of you. William? The man said, I, Captain William Kidd, at your service. And that is where I'm writing right now, is in the exact same bar in my second trilogy. I said, I have known the name Michener, a great English knight of House Michener from Surrey, England. That's where, when I first started writing this, I didn't know. I thought maybe I'm a Michener or Best. I had no clue. And now I know I'm all Bruce. And that affects my trilogy. It affects my writing, is knowing who I am. It helps when I'm writing about my main character that is my ancestors. and I'm a Bruce, and Stewart's a Bute today. The lad looked at me, his face perplexed. What? The boy replied. In this battle, I was told by my father and his father before me, and so forth, Sir Arthur de Galbraith was to strike down Sir John de Warren. I have his DNA too from Normandy, de Warren, at the Battle of Stirling Bridge. You have heard of the Battle of Stirling Bridge, my lad? I asked. Well, my God, where William Wallace defeated Edward I's army? Before I could continue, the boy said, the King of England, shouted the lad, and he took a long drink of wine from my goblet. I looked at the ceiling, and then Christina shouted, sweet Christ, that is right, lad. I was beginning to lose faith in you, I said, and took back my goblet and finished my wine. So that is the second trilogy, and it ties right into the bar with Captain Kidd, in Ireland, and I need my lineage, validated. So right to this Alistair MacDonald, I'm the first and only known living descendant of Robert the Bruce. I have all Robert the Bruce DNA and all this Royal Stuart DNA, and I've shown it to you. I put it up on my Instagram account, Naked Author, and the Wattpad, and you can go on realnakedauthor.com, copy it all, my DNA, put it in a chat GPT. It'll tell you no Michener, no Bruce, no Best, all Bruce, Robert the Bruce, and the Bute, Stewart of Bute. No Michener, no Best, all Bruce, and all Bute, Stewart of Bute. And all my Y-DNA confirms it, and it all is interwoven, not just in my Y-DNA, but also in my trilogies. And I'm the only author in the world to ever do this. It couldn't be done in the 20th century. Nobody's going to figure out that they're started a trilogy 20 years ago, find out they're the first and only descendant of Robert the Bruce, be able to prove it with their Y-DNA, have the will to fight after cancer, after all losing everything, the 08, 09, great whatever financial crisis, great recession, a son that was taken from me, lose it all again from the COVID pandemic, from Uncle Rufus Murdoch. No. It's time to have this validated, finish my trilogy, and when I come to Scotland, to go there as a fake Michener is a disgrace to the Bruce, King of Scots. Cheers.